Hi everyone. I wanted to take a moment and introduce you to my new friend and our new member of our herd here at Atohallan Farms. This is Gravitas. Gravitas is a 10-year-old Andalusian gelding, and he's our new family member here. And we're super excited to welcome him and have him joining our herd. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of background about him and introduce you to him. First of all, his name, Gravitas, is one of the Roman virtues, and it was a virtue that signified that someone was noble or dignified or had a strong presence. So we think that's very fitting for him. How Gravitas came to me, I got him from a very lovely lady. She had acquired him from a horse trader who really didn't know anything about his background. The trader told her that he was really quiet and well-behaved, but unfortunately that turned out to not be the case. And after she brought Gravitas home, she found out that he had a lot of anxiety, especially related to being ridden and that kind of thing. And that anxiety led to a lot of behavioral issues, which ended up being actually quite a dangerous situation, where he would become quite emotional and even explosive and dangerous to ride. Now, she did what she could. She had him vetted thoroughly to rule out pain. She was working with a trainer. And while he did improve a little bit with her, she eventually realized that he was just a little bit too much horse for her, and she really couldn't help him any more than she had. So she made the very noble decision. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision for her to make. But she made the decision to find him a new home with someone who could hopefully help him and help him work through some of his issues. I know, you're okay. All right, buddy. So we ended up connecting together, and after chatting for a while, she decided that she would let Gravitas come here to live out his days, and hopefully I'll be able to help him. But he's going to have a lifetime home here where he'll be well cared for. Her biggest concern really was that she didn't want him to end up in a bad situation, end up at auction, something like that, which sadly can happen quite often with horses that have behavioral issues. So from what she's told me about Gravitas and about the issues that he has and the emotional reactions that he has and the anxiety that he has, it sounds to me like he was once a Mexican dancing horse. Again, we don't know for sure because the trader that she got him from really didn't know anything about him. But just based off of what she's told me about him, I know, you're okay. Just based off of what she's told me about him, it sounds like he was a former Mexican dancing horse. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, I won't say all because I don't want to pass judgment on everybody, but in a lot of cases, the Mexican dancing horses are not treated very well. I know it's hard to stand still, isn't it? So you can see this is one of his anxieties here, is just even being able to stand still is really hard for him. So we're just going to walk here a little bit while I'm talking to you. So the Mexican dancing horses are often treated very harshly. They're basically abused. There's a lot of strong use of whips, tying them up and whipping them to make them dance, and things like that. And they're basically just treated very harshly and not treated very well. So that oftentimes leads to a lot of behavioral issues and emotional issues. So what I'm going to have to do with Gravitas is I'm basically just going to completely restart him from the beginning as if he were a young horse who didn't know how to do anything. Now, obviously, he does have some training, but I'm going to just completely start him over, and we're just going to redo everything because likely he has a lot of holes in his training. Likely there's a lot of emotional things surrounding his training that we're going to have to work through. And I'm going to have to really build up his trust in order to get him to want to work with me and feel like he can be okay. I know, you're being very good. So like I've been doing with Archie, our young Mustang gelding, I'm going to be documenting his entire training process. And it's going to be really interesting to compare the two horses because we'll be doing a lot of the same things. They're both, Archie is uneducated, so I'm starting from scratch with him. And with Gravitas, I'm going to be starting over. But it's going to be really interesting because I'm going to have to do things very differently with Gravitas than I'm doing with Archie because he has those emotional issues. He's likely going to have some trauma responses and things like that that we're going to have to work through that Archie does not have. So it's going to be a much different process with Gravitas in order for me to be able to build up his trust. And hopefully we'll eventually get to a place where we can get him going under saddle again in a much healthier way where he can be happy and he can enjoy his job. So that process of his training is going to be documented, like I said, and that's going to be available in my virtual classroom. So if you're not already a part of that, now's a great time to sign up. Because you'll get to watch not only Archie's progress, but now Gravitas's progress as well. And you'll see how I work with a horse that does have a lot of anxiety and a traumatic past and a lot of emotional responses. And you'll see how I'm able to work through that with him and build up his trust in me little by little. It's definitely going to be a slow, challenging process to work through all of that, but I'm excited to help Gravitas, and hopefully we can get him feeling better and enjoying life a little bit more. Right, buddy? Yeah, you're a good boy.